Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Wrestle Rewind. Tonight is Thursday, December 19th, 2019, and man, it feels different. We haven't been here in almost a month. We were just talking before we went on the air that our last episode aired the week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So it's been almost a month to the day that since we've done a show, and I do want to apologize. I just want to tell folks that there were a variety of reasons why that happened. One was Thanksgiving. Followed after that, there was a family emergency that occurred that required myself and Smokey Z to take some time away from the show. And then after that, we had a holiday children's gatherings that had to be attended. One thing that is always been more important, at least for me, and even more so now recently, is family is first. So that will always take precedent and priority, and as well it should. So tonight's episode, before we broke before Thanksgiving, we talked about the next several episodes of Wrestle Rewind being each one focusing a fantasy draft. So tonight we will do our fantasy draft of the greatest WWE.
I forgot all about that.
Of the greatest WWE or the greatest wrestling tag teams of all time. Real quick, happy belated birthday, because we have no birthdays today that I could find in the wrestling world, but we have belated birthdays. Yesterday was the two WWE Hall of Famer birthdays in Trish Stratus and the one and only Stone Cold Steve Austin. Who we were just watching the Broken Skull sessions before we came in to do the show. So, no A-Man tonight. She's got some stuff that she's dealing with, so we will miss her this evening, and hopefully she will be back with us next week. There is no plans for, well, let's see, what's next Thursday? Is next Thursday the 26th?
That's the day after.
Well, realistically, I'm going to say, how do you guys feel about getting together and taping a show on Monday? We can tape it on Monday, air it on Thursday.
Should be good.
That'd be good, because I don't have to work the next day. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, let's face it. We've got Tuesday is Christmas Eve, Wednesday being Christmas, and Thursday I'll be out of town.
So let's just get together and do it Monday.
We can get together, tape the episode on Monday, and Nico, can you make sure it gets released on Thursday? All right. Thank you, sir. We appreciate that.
Hey. Good job. No, she's not here.
So,
well, she's not.
So, folks, I do apologize if I have to lean away from the microphone at all tonight. It's going to be because I'm going to have to be coughing. But dealing with some sinus issues today. However, I want to go in and, we did not get a chance to talk about Survivor Series. We didn't get a chance to talk about TLC because we have not been on the air since both of those two events transpired. Survivor Series being over a month old, let's focus on TLC, that being the most recent WWE pay-per-view. And I'll go ahead and be the first one to go on the record of saying that I was pretty disappointed at the TLC pay-per-view overall. I just didn't feel like there was a lot of... I didn't feel like there was a lot of great action.
Yeah, I think that for sure. But I think there's just a... And not necessarily... I'm trying to look at it from all angles, but it just looks like a lot of missed opportunities. It just looks like they get to the brink of pulling something off that could be really good, and they're just missing it. They're just missing it. And I don't get it. As your last pay-per-view of the year, why not go all out?
For the decade.
I mean, it was...
Yeah.
Because, look, this was your last pay-per-view of this decade. Why not go all out? But it's just it felt phoned in. If
we had that conversation during the show.
Had I seen here, I'll put it in perspective. Had I seen that show, that exact same show, on a Monday night or a Friday night, I would have been like, man, that was a really good Raw. SmackDown was really good last night. That's pretty good. But you know what? That was a showcase event. Is basically what pay-per-views are now. They're showcase events, and they didn't really showcase anything.
And in my opinion, some of it was just kind of boring to watch. It was just like,
it was phoned in.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. So one of the things that we talked about, I think the best thing that we did was we did get to see Bray Wyatt wrestle a match.
Mm-hmm.
We had not seen that since his return. We had seen The Fiend. There's a lot of questions that I have about what they gained from the Daniel Bryan reemergence at the end of that. Clearly a new look for Daniel Bryan, but pretty sure The Fiend already beat Daniel Bryan, didn't he?
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah, so
it did.
What's the point? I mean, I'm not sure I see the validity of what they're doing.
Well,
are they trying to make Daniel a face again?
Well, I think they did that. That's done. Like the Yes Movement came back. The fans the other night were into it. They were behind Daniel Bryan again. Big fear that they're setting up this rematch and they're going to put it on Daniel Bryan,
which I think is a mistake. It's a mistake. You can't.
I was ready to do my part.
Point, you can't have Daniel Bryan be the guy that beats The Fiend.
If somebody's already lost to The Fiend, that doesn't need to be the same person that comes back in the very next match and beats The Fiend, because having to have a rubber match with The Fiend defeats the purpose of everything that you've built in The Fiend.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
You've built him to be this dominant being. Daniel Bryan can't win because he's already lost.
In a dramatic fashion.
He's already lost. Got his hair ripped out. Everything.
Yeah. I don't see any validity in the Daniel Bryan storyline. Maybe they'll teach us something down the road. I just don't.
They have done that before.
Then what would be the point even if he did get the rematch, it still didn't win?
Right. I mean, that's what I'm saying. If he gets rematch and then loses again, now not only does it not make sense, now it just looks stupid.
Right.
Yeah, I don't see.
And it takes away that whole face.
Well, I don't know what it takes away. But see, a Daniel Bryan Fiend rematch and a Daniel Bryan loss does absolutely nothing for either one of those guys, because now you've worked really hard to get Daniel Bryan back to the American Dragon.
Right.
You've worked really hard to go full circle and get back there. You've worked really hard to create the dominant being in The Fiend. A rematch and a Fiend win does zero for him, and all that work that you did to bring Daniel Bryan full circle, a rematch and a loss does nothing for him.
Now, I don't see how anybody gains anything from this, whether it's Daniel Bryan or The Fiend. I don't see any positive growth for either of those two guys out of this feud.
Well, there's not, because whichever one loses the very next match, momentum is stopped, killed, and halted immediately, especially if it's The Fiend.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan has a chance if they do this and he loses. He can still find a way to come out and be okay down the road.
Yep.
If The Fiend loses to Daniel Bryan after he's already beaten Daniel Bryan, that gimmick is done. Don't do it.
So then the next question is the next match going to be Bray Wyatt, Daniel Bryan, not The Fiend?
It could be.
And I think if Bray Wyatt's going to lose, that's going to be how he loses.
Yeah, well,
it's going to be as Bray Wyatt.
I felt like that was dangled in our face with The Miz the other night.
Yeah.
I was like, ooh. I mean, I would have been okay seeing The Miz with the title.
And I think realistically, because of what they did with The Fiend, I don't think The Fiend can be who is around all the time.
Right. And maybe that's where they're getting with it.
Maybe. Because I could see some sort of potential movement where Daniel Bryan beats Bray Wyatt for the title, leading to a Fiend emergence at some point to then defeat Daniel Bryan again and get the belt back.
I mean, and that's...
But that's the only way I see this. That's the only way I see this going well. Yeah. And even then, it's moderately well. It's not great.
I'm still not excited about it.
No.
But I could support that storyline.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Like, I could come on this show and not be like, oh, my God.
Yeah.
What was that?
So, thoughts on the TLC main event with the Cobb UK? The Cobb UK and A-Man's absence. Warriors.
Drug on way too long.
2 negatives, and that's one, was the match was way too long. And, you know, I was afraid. It was dragging on so long.
And it was getting super sloppy.
It was getting super sloppy, and somebody was about to get seriously injured, which someone did get seriously injured.
I believe the final report was she did sustain a concussion.
Well, yeah. I mean,
which we had talked about that night. Just watching it on TV, you could tell that the lights were on.
Nobody was
well,
there.
and I was reading. I was just flipping through a news feed the other day and was seeing something about it. And one of the things, if you remember, not long after it happened, she and Becky were on the floor together, and Becky crawled over to her. Do you remember this to check on her?
Yeah.
And what she said to Becky right there was, "Help me, Becky."
Mm.
So right then and there, everybody knew, oh, hell, this is not...
Well, and this is where, I mean, I'm going to kind of give a little bit of shade at WWE because that's the kind of stuff that you had 2 officials at ringside who you have also other very experienced workers in the ring. You know, Kairi Sane being the least experienced of the 4 women that were in the ring that night. You had 2 very experienced performers, knew there was something wrong, 2 officials at ringside, and you still let that match drag on for another, 10 minutes?
It was...
Oh, yeah.
After it happened, like, you can't... I understand that it's a judgment call, and that they can't diagnose that. They're not medical professionals, you know, and I get that. And even as fans watching it, you could just tell something was wrong.
Well, yeah. Do you remember, I mean, with everything else that was going on, do you remember right as Charlotte had to powerbomb her through the table?
Yeah.
She couldn't help Charlotte get her up.
Charlotte had to manhandle her to get her
Like,
up.
she just kind of was laid completely back, and just like she couldn't function.
Yeah. Or the dive off the ring apron.
Yeah.
Where she didn't dive, she just kind of fell.
And almost missed the table.
Well, I mean, she did.
I
The
mean,
table didn't even break.
Right.
You know, Charlotte sold it because of Charlotte's talent. You know, she was able to pull something out of it.
Yeah.
But I have a strong fear that, you know, WWE is still in the midst of a concussion lawsuit right now. Mm-hmm. It's been going on now for almost 2 years.
Yeah. Mm.
And that's the kind of stuff that gets used against them, because anybody who was watching that as a fan
could tell
there was something wrong.
She was stumbling.
And at what point did somebody backstage not go to Vince and say, we've got a problem? And so what I think we're going to end up seeing here in the WWE, and it's going to, mark my words, change the business forever when it happens. But I think you're going to eventually see the WWE move to a process and protocol that's very similar to what the NFL does now, which means if somebody's watching it and thinks there's a problem, they're going to stop the match, come out, make an evaluation, and to determine whether or not the performer can continue.
Kind of like in the UFC where they have the doctors come in
and
check them out.
Ray Charles could have figured out the other night.
It was awful.
Like,
it was bad.
I mean, it was
and
like...
the fact that you continuously had officials go over to her and you could see them checking in on their mics, like they were able to communicate, hey, we've got a situation.
Yeah.
But at the same time, as an official, not a medical professional, if you've got a performer who's saying, no, I'm good, let's just finish the match, that's where I think you need an exterior entity whose job it is to intervene at that point and say, I don't care what you're telling me. your actions don't indicate that you're in any kind of control of what you're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, there was... That match would have been fine if they would have just left Kairi Sane on the outside of the ring and let the Charlotte, Becky, and Asuka carry out whatever it was they could do.
And it eventually got there.
Right. But
after it was too late.
Those three ladies could have told the story fine. They would have found a way because they're talented enough to do that.
Right.
But to try to continue and let Kairi Sane pull her weight in that match, she couldn't pull anything.
Well, and if you remember, not so much on her end not being able to function, but once the other ladies knew, do you remember the chair shot that Becky gave her? That was a...
You could tell
that Becky did that just to say, okay, this was what was discussed. I did it. So
right, nobody can say anything to me. I did.
And they did it more like a placeholder, just so they don't lose their place in what was supposed to take place that night. And so she did it as if to say, okay, here's this. Now let's move on to this.
Yeah, I don't think that there's anything that. The only thing that I think WWE can do differently as that moves forward and tries to figure out how to navigate that piece is they're going to have to find a way to have someone make a judgment call.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I would like to see that happen sooner rather than later before somebody gets...
Well, I mean, how hard would it be? You have all this security around the ring. You have timekeepers. You have announcers. You have all these other people. Why not have a medical professional, a doctor, sitting ringside?
Yeah.
So with the timekeepers or something.
Well, they've got a doctor on staff. He just sits in the back. Why not put him
out there
at ringside, where the most likely chance that a wrestler gets injured is going to be?
Well, let's call it. It's 99% you're going to get hurt there if you're going to get hurt.
Right. So I get that you want him backstage to treat when they come backstage, but when is he needed the most?
I have a question. Why can't they have two doctors?
Right. Well, I was literally getting to say the same thing.
I think we have enough money.
Fox gave him enough money.
I'm pretty sure. Just take Fox out of it. I'm pretty sure that as the WWE juggernaut, you got enough money to pay a guy in the back and enough money to pay a doctor. And a doctor.
Yeah.
To where immediately... When Kairi Sane was down the other day, instead of referees and security people checking on her, the doctor could have checked on her, told the referee to radio to the back and tell that doctor to be ready. She's coming.
So the only thing, as I'm thinking through this as we're talking about it, the only thing that I would see as a huge precautionary issue for WWE is if the situation were to arise that you have that doctor sitting at ringside. Well, that doctor has a medical malpractice insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's an independent contractor through WWE, he's going to know full and well and understand that if WWE were to get taken to court for this, WWE is not going to accept the fault. They're going to point the finger directly at that doctor.
I get it, but I feel like as a medical professional, it's one of those things that it's kind of swim at your own risk.
It is, but so then if you're the one that's personally liable for it now, how many matches we'll never get to see?
Right.
Because the moment you see them take a bad bump and that doctor goes, nope, can't continue.
Yeah. I mean, but still.
So I think
it's a fine line. I don't care which side of it you're on.
It is, yeah, it is.
It's a super fine line. But I feel like if you break it down to its bare bones, and as any company, and you're in the middle of these lawsuits, and you're trying to cover everything, that would be the logical next step to take. Right. There's really not another one because your guy's going to stay in the back.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, not only, you could have the guy up front, check on them, and then say he calls a match or whatever, or if it's a tag team, just send that person to the back, get the doctor back there to deny or confirm what he thinks the issue is, And if they can continue, send them back out. If not,
Well, so
I mean, we've seen plenty of matches where they've come out, even though I understand, like, most of them are kind of like part of the match.
the storyline.
Of them coming out and getting them on the stretcher and then taking them in the back and then them coming back out. But sometimes you see them where they don't come back out.
Yeah, but I think that, again, that's a huge liability for a doctor that would be at ringside. I think there needs to be some sort of safe measure put into place. But even if I was a licensed physician, if you were to ask me, hey, I want you to sit ringside and you're going to be personally liable if these folks get hurt and you don't stop the match. Personally liable. So that means when that person gets CTE 30 years from now and dies because he commits suicide, and then the family wants to sue somebody, they're not going to sue WWE, they're going to sue that doctor.
Right.
Because the doctor's the one that didn't stop the match.
Yeah.
So that's a huge liability that you would be accepting for WWE to say, yeah, you're going to be the guy, not a guy, the guy to make that call. I'm not sure you're going to find a doctor out there willing to take that job.
Somebody would do it.
Somebody
would do it.
Even the
Sure enough
NFL,
money.
even the NFL has 3 different people at each game that are responsible for making that decision. 3 different. 1 doctor, and then 2 physical therapists that are responsible for executing the concussion protocol and then making a determination as to whether or not the player can continue. I think there needs to be something like that put into place for WWE. However, it's different because you can take a player out of a football game, replace them,
Right.
game continues. That doesn't happen to a situation in a WWE ring. If they pull the wrestler out, that's it. Match is over. They're not going to come back out 20 minutes later and restart.
So, create a sports world, which is what supposedly, Fox kind of wants that.
Right.
So, who's to say you don't have a substitute?
I mean, maybe.
I mean, who's to say you don't have a substitute? Let's say it's a title match, okay? And the challenger goes down mid-match. Can't continue. So then it becomes a non-title match, and you still give the fans a show.
Okay.
I mean, so the sub would not be eligible for the championship
Well, that's why I
being
said
contested. So no, it's not the same match, but I do honestly feel, look, wrestling fans are harsh and they're fickle. We all are. That's what we do. As fans, that's what we do. You take the good with the bad. You complain about it. You like it. You love it. You hate it. All at one time. And that's only one match. But I do feel that if it were pushed in more of a sport, not sports entertainment necessarily, but more in the direction of sport.
Like a physical
And,
sport.
that's not a work. A performer is genuinely hurt, genuinely injured, concussed, knocked out, broken leg, whatever, and you get replaced, at some point, any fan base has got to understand, number one, it was in the best interest of the injured performer.
Right.
yeah.
Number two, the show must go on in the best interest of the fan.
That's fair.
That would be kind of a way that I would look at it. What are you looking at me like that for?
I don't know. If I'm hurt, I'd have to ask somebody, please take it. I've been concussed one time to where
I seen it.
No, this was a different time. This was in training. I literally forgot the following 5 minutes.
Yeah.
There was match feedback and everything. Don't remember.
I've been there. I got concussed one time in training.
Well, and I think that, again, I think that a huge part of this
Then I drove home. Oof.
also has to
Couldn't
be
see.
this.
Couldn't see.
If we're going to support that and we're going to say that, yeah, we want WWE to have something in place, then we as fans have to understand what that looks like.
Yeah.
And that's why I said I think this eventually happens, and when it happens, it's going to change the wrestling industry.
Sure it is.
But I think it's inevitable at this point, given the litigious society that we have.
Ooh.
And
Big word.
Big word.
all of
Yep.
this a society that's surrounded within lawsuits. People like to sue each other. So
He keeps a dictionary in the bathroom.
when you have that type of environment, it is inevitable at some point that somebody's going to say, hey, we can't do this anymore. We've got to find a way to be able to pull the plug on this and get out of it before somebody gets hurt. I mean, even if you think back to WrestleMania 30 with The Undertaker and Brock Lesnar, he was concussed.
I've been sitting here playing that match in my head through this entire conversation.
3 minutes into the match, he was concussed, and he still wrestled another, 18?
Mick Foley?
Mick Foley?
I mean, look, Mick Foley's probably had 30 that we don't know about.
That's true.
I mean, and it sounds funny, but look at what that man put his entire body through. Are you kidding me? Are you telling me that hey, is this a stat we could find, Nico? How many recorded concussions did Mankind or Mick Foley have?
I'd like to know that one.
How many recorded concussions?
Because I know when he got threw off the Hell in a Cell by The Undertaker, he had one.
He actually, you know what? If you go back and look at that, he did a good job of protecting his head on that.
Right.
The first fall, yes. The one through the cell?
through the cell when the chair hit him in the face? Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah, no.
Or what about the night that The Rock hit him 21 times in the head with a chair?
Well, that you look, even when I think back about that now, it's hard for me to process that in my head and go, who thought that was a good idea?
He did.
On the WWE side, who thought that was a good idea? Hey, we're going to let these guys do this.
What year was it?
Yeah, I mean, but even...
I'm just saying. I'm not justifying.
I know, but even then...
Nobody in any major industry was saying, even breathing the word concussion at that time.
No, but
ECW.
I can distinctly remember watching that match and going... This
Foley has no exact number. He said he had too many to remember all of them.
Oh, okay.
Figured that. Okay. So, like I said, he's probably had 30 or 40 that we don't know about.
That's
surprised he's still alive.
probably true.
He's probably surprised he's still alive.
So,
and you can't tell me he didn't get a concussion jumping off the roof of his house onto that bed mattress.
No. Even if his head didn't hit anything, he still probably got a concussion.
Well, because little whiplash.
It did what?
So, you know how you get the whoosh? I'm going to tell you real quick. You want to know? First, you jump. Wait for it. And then you go about right here.
Yeah.
Frog.
Full frog.
I still remember the time you gave me whiplash powerbombing me off of the dock.
I don't remember that. Oh, yes, I do. Yes, I did. That was down at Lake Gaston.
Yep.
What happened?
Back when I was little, we were wrestling on the dock, and he Batista bombed me off the dock and into the water and gave me whiplash.
That makes sense. That's fair. You got,
and
then you got Bach Rodham on a vape once.
Yep. That happened too.
Vaping kills.
I was like, what was that sound?
That was his
That was the back of his head.
All right, well, we're going to talk briefly about AEW tonight. Folks, we are trying to keep this show as short as we can this evening as a result of Nico's got to be up. Nico
got to be
has
at
to
work
be
at
at work
3.
in 6 hours.
Oh, God. Why you got to put it like that?
Well, I mean, it is.
It is.
What it is.
It just made it sound a lot worse, though.
It's okay, but she really plugged that show on the far right of the backdrop.
Then
Shameless plug.
then we have
I got to figure out which way to go.
then we have
Don't finger it.
I'm not. I'm just pointing.
He was pointing the wrong direction.
WWE has
It's hard to do this.
WWE has now gone to an extent after AEW and Cody Rhodes managed to secure the trademark for Bash at the Beach. Vince McMahon and WWE have now filed for trademarks for every past WCW and ECW pay-per-view name. All of them. There's 56 on the list.
I feel like we're not in a ratings war right now.
No.
We are entering right slap ass dead center of a trademark war.
Right now, yeah.
Right now, we're in a trademark war.
So
It's the precursor to the potential ratings war down the road.
well, and speaking of that, I have not been able to find. Nico, can you find ratings for last night's NXT and AEW shows? I made a very crucial mistake last night, as I was laying in bed.
You watched AEW?
And,
Okay.
I passed out as soon as I got home from work.
Forbes as of last night, NXT drew 795,000, while AEW drew 680,000.
Yeah.
So once again, we've got another back and forth. NXT takes the ratings war for last night. I would tell you that was probably entirely because you had two different title matches on NXT last night. You had Adam Cole, Finn Balor, and then you had Shayna
Which was
Baszler.
great.
Yep, you had Shayna Baszler, Rhea Ripley.
Normally, let me jump in real quick. Normally, I don't like when big ticket title matches are interrupted by interference.
Yeah, but last night's was pretty cool.
I did not mind last night being interrupted by Johnny Gargano. I didn't.
So
I normally hate it.
Here's
I'm on
the thing
record
that I
for that.
saw last night. The AEW, for the brief, I watched it for a total of one match.
Was that the one?
I was AEW.
Oh, AEW. I'm
When I watched AEW, and literally it was the channel the television was on when I turned it on.
Yep.
And so that's what I watched, and it was the Chris Jericho Jungle Boy match. And I got to tell you that I've now gone back and watched two Chris Jericho matches in AEW.
They're awful.
And I'm going to tell you something that I never thought I would say about Chris Jericho. But if his caliber of performance is what he provided last night and what we've gotten the past couple of times out of him, why in the hell is he still doing it, and why is he your world champion?
Here's the thing, and I say this every week, and I hate to sound like the negative all the time about AEW.
That's not you, that's me.
I'm talking about the actual show itself. It is a 1,000% inferior product to NXT. It is not even close. And I think the newness of AEW is wearing off. And I'm going to tell you, the majority of the matches that I have seen, and I've watched every AEW episode, are not quality. The best match that I've seen, my most favorite match, was either a week, maybe 2 weeks ago. It was the first match of the night. It was Dustin Rhodes and the Young Bucks versus Santana Ortiz and Sammy Guevara. That was a great match, and you know what made that match great? Dustin Rhodes.
I don't have any problem saying that there are guys on the AEW roster that are extraordinarily talented and, if given an opportunity, would be main event stars in WWE. Period. The Young Bucks, that's two of them.
Fair.
I mean, even if the Rhodes brothers went back at this point, they would deserve to have prominent spots because they're still... Dustin Rhodes, he's the only guy that I've seen in all my years of wrestling that got better as he got older.
Go back, seriously, if you didn't see the match I'm talking about, go back and watch that match. Watch it tonight.
Well, go back and watch the Doty.
There it is. Now we're officially back. All we need now is for him to fall out of his chair for no reason.
The Cody Dustin match from All Out.
Yeah.
That match was a war, and it was outstanding. Here's the problem that I see with AEW right now, and I'm still not as harsh on them now as I used to be.
No, but see, I'm trending that way.
But here's my problem now. I said from the beginning that putting Chris Jericho, who is no longer in his prime, as your world champion and focusing your product around him was a mistake.
Yeah.
I said that in the beginning before the Adam Page-Chris Jericho match happened. Chris Jericho now is your world champion, and he's fat.
Oh, he's horribly
slow.
out of shape. Yeah.
He misses his cues. He doesn't sell.
Nope. Well, he can't.
So watching that match last night, when I watched him, right, and it's not because he doesn't want to, he just can't.
Right.
And so there are things that, like, character-wise, there's probably never been anybody better in the business.
Nope.
Ever.
I think it's just time for him to just be a manager.
Well, you know what? I think
his prime is gone.
Right.
I think what Jericho needs to do, and I hate saying this more than any other because you guys saw me completely lose my shit when he surprised us here in Richmond and came out, right?
Right.
So you know full good and well that I am a genuine fan of Chris Jericho, right? Chris Jericho has been so great for so long, and he's nowhere close to that guy now. I don't think he's the type of guy that can stick around to be a manager. I think Jericho needs to go.
So I want you to do me a favor, Nico, just because I want to see the difference. I want you to pull up the last picture that you can find of Jericho in WWE, which, although folks might want to forget about it, it really wasn't that long ago, maybe a year and a half ago.
I'm down with
That's
that.
probably as close as you're going to get.
No, you know what? Go to the Festival of Friendship. Pull up that picture. Because that was just before he left
that's
WWE.
true.
Oh, yeah. Definitely slimmer.
Well, yeah. It's not even close.
So look at Jericho right there.
You can see it in his face. He actually has a neck, not a...
Go to
Not a gobbler.
pull up the picture of the Jericho Owens United States Championship match.
There you go. Yes, yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Because that was his last full match, other than
Yeah.
his match in Richmond. That was the last match he wrestled.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I want folks at home that are watching this to see this. So look at Chris Jericho right there. Right there. Now pull up a picture of him from AEW recently.
It is a stark contrast.
Oh, God.
Right, that one. Yep. That's the one I want you to pull up.
Jesus
So, folks, there's
Christ.
Chris Jericho.
That was before.
That's in New Japan. But
So that's New Japan. Okay, find one when he's got the AEW title, because it doesn't look a whole lot different.
It looks worse.
When AEW first started, he was in better shape than he is right now.
He seems to be wearing a shirt a lot. Oh, there's what he wanted.
There you go.
Oh, my goodness.
So, folks, that's your AEW World Champion.
And that's sad.
In less than a year.
Oh, God.
In less than a year, that's how much change you saw.
I think he went on tour between. I think the road life got to him partially.
Well, with
goes on
Fozzy,
tour again.
and I could buy into that 100%, Nico, and I could stand behind it. What I can't do is when you're going out there and you're chastising your friends who work in WWE for the product that they're providing, and you're going out there and, quite frankly, you're probably the least talented person on their roster at this particular
real
point.
quick sneak this in here. I 5,000% agree that Chris Jericho does not need the title. Chris Jericho needs to move, if he sticks around, like Smokey was talking. Oh, God, this hurts. He needs to go into the high-paid enhancement talent and put guys over.
Yeah.
That's where he needs to be.
So, you know what was funny is, Nico, I don't know if you can find this. You don't have to put it up on the screen right now, but Chris Jericho did an interview not long after he left WWE, but they announced that he was joining AEW, and what happened was he threw John Cena under the bus.
Who, Jericho did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For saying that John Cena's biggest legacy would be burying talent. Well, I mean, I don't know if anybody's watched AEW since it started, but guess what Jericho's been doing?
Burying talent.
Burying talent.
So now, in the modern wrestling world, there are probably many that would say he's not burying talent because of the quality of matches that he's having builds that talent. And I would look at you in your face and tell you you're full of crap. Because if I go back and watch that match from Monday or from a Wednesday night, last night, with him and the Jungle Boy, it was awful. Awful.
I haven't made it. I didn't make it past the Kenny Omega, Adam Page, Lucha Brothers match. Let me tell you what, that's terrible. It's a bad match. Because you got Omega and doing Kenny Omega things. You've got Adam Page who looks slow and out of place compared to the other three in the ring.
Well,
and then you have the Lucha Brothers who in every single damn match I've seen do nothing but spots. That's it.
So here's the thing. I've said this about Omega before. Even now, when he's wrestling his matches, he is so hung up on trying to watch himself on camera
Yeah.
that you see him looking away from the match because he's trying to see what's on the screen. And I know that you have an obligation as part of the executive team for this organization, but, buddy, I got to tell you, there's this guy that does that really, really well, and his name is Triple H.
Yeah.
Who can stand in a ring, manage the entire match and the production crew, and the only thing that ever changes is he'll keep looking, but if you pay real close attention, his eyes will move.
They will cut, yeah.
But his face, the expression, stays the same.
But when he's out there in a match, he's out there in a damn match.
Well, right. And if
he's not worried about looking at monitors.
The only thing he does that for is you can see him do it during the entrances because he's monitoring just like how the production of the show is going. But when that bell rings,
he's Triple H again.
That suit
he's the game.
Is gone.
Yep.
And he has to wrestle. Now, he said even in a recent interview, he doesn't want to wrestle anymore.
Oh, that breaks my heart.
Like, he has openly said now, he was asked, when are you going to get back in the ring again? And he said, if I'm lucky, I won't have to. So he did sign a 3-year contract. He's still got 2 years left on it as an in-ring performer. But he doesn't have any desire to wrestle again. In his mind, he has now, and I'm going to tell you he's right, he has reached that elite status.
He doesn't need to.
Of, you pull him out when you have to.
Right.
When there's something special enough.
Right.
So there is talk. John Cena lives where? You guys know where he lives?
Florida.
Yes. Guess where in Florida?
Tampa.
In Tampa. So there is talk that we are going to get a John Cena match at WrestleMania 36. And that the John Cena match we're going to get is going to be John Cena versus Triple H, career versus career.
Ooh. Double count out and they're both done.
The loser leaves.
Double count out.
I'm okay with John Cena never breaking Ric Flair's record.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
He's tired.
However, if he did, I'd be okay with that too.
Right.
Because
he's the only person that has deserved.
He's the guy that... So Austin carried WWE through its most challenging time period. That's how they got to be where they are today.
Right.
But Austin did that for about 3.5 years. John Cena picked that company up and put it on his back and carried it for a decade. Not just 2 or 3 years.
Nobody.
The Rock only did it for 1.5 years before he disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
Triple H never did it. The only guy to do it and do it as long as he did was John Cena. Ric Flair is outstanding and is one of the greatest of all time. Unfortunately, if you remove him from the business, there's only certain pieces of the business that change, not the whole thing. It doesn't end because Ric Flair's not there.
This is true.
So I love the guy, ultra talented, one of the greatest of all time. John Cena, if you don't have John Cena in the Ruthless Aggression era to work with the likes of The Undertaker, JBL, Kurt Angle, those guys, I'm not sure WWE would be the same today.
No, because, I mean...
They didn't really have
the gap never gets bridged from the Attitude Era.
Right. You don't have anybody to carry that torch. And quite frankly, Roman Reigns was never going to be that guy.
No.
He still isn't that guy.
So let me ask you this question, because I was sitting around thinking about this the other night. Current roster.
Okay.
You know, obviously Cena, those guys are still on the current roster technically. But those are not the guys that I'm talking about.
Okay. So you're talking your week in, week out workers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Name 5 Hall of Famers right now.
Bray Wyatt. Right. The Miz.
I'll give you Miz. Is Bray right now, is not, don't
AJ.
think too far into the future. Like right now. Not for what they will do in the business.
Okay.
AJ.
So I'm going to give you 5 names. I'm going to tell you why.
Okay, go.
Bray Wyatt, second greatest character in the history of the business.
I cannot disagree. I agree. Who's
that,
number 1?
That's where The Undertaker.
Yeah.
The
Make
Fiend,
sure we're still on the same page.
The Fiend, what they've done with The Fiend is he is now, in my mind, the second greatest character they've ever come up with.
Yep.
So that's why he gets in.
Fair.
AJ Styles, and I could give you a textbook of reasons.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have enough show
The
time
Miz,
for that.
right? The Miz,
I agree.
One of
Those-
the greatest heels.
one of the greatest heels in the business.
But see, for me, real quick, the Miz in my mind is one of the guys that I was talking about. Don't count because I feel like he's a lock. I feel like at some
but
point
he's still a
lock.
week in, week out
I
performer.
know. Go ahead.
Daniel Bryan, as
Okay.
much as I don't like him, I still think he gets in.
Okay.
If nothing else, WWE has a really soft spot for when people get injured and come back.
Yeah.
Edge got injured and became a Hall of Famer.
We got to talk about Edge before we get off here.
Yes. So,
Did you see it?
but Daniel Bryan, and then the fifth one, I mean, I would have to say would be Randy Orton.
Fair.
Oh, of course.
And see, for me, like I agree with every single one of the people that you put out there. I feel like if the Fiend gets stopped, though,
They can still ruin it.
I'm saying if the Fiend gets
absolutely.
stopped, and this is what I'm saying, he will never be a Hall of Famer.
No.
Because he will go back to Bray Wyatt and flounder.
Yeah, the
Husky Harris?
No, he won't go back that far.
The Fiend is Bray Wyatt's ticket to success and fandom down the road. I mean, it just.
Well, yeah, it has to stay. But
However, I think what WWE has done with him, with us getting Bray Wyatt, I think is spot on with what they needed because people were going to get tired of the Fiend
Really
if you
quick.
give him to us all.
absolutely.
The time.
And you know what? It's like we said at the beginning of the show. I'm okay if
It's like
Bray Wyatt loses the title.
That's
I won't bitch about a thing.
That's
Right.
like Demon Finn Balor.
Yeah,
Right.
It's just the Fiend needs to be reserved for the extreme feuds. I think for sure we get another Fiend Hell in a Cell match at some point in time down the road. I also think we're probably going to get a new gimmick match from the Fiend character. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I think we're going to get something new.
Normally, when you have a character like that, you do have its own gimmick.
Right.
match.
Well, I mean, look at Taker, though.
He's got 4.
Look at how many different incarnations, not counting the American Badass,
Yeah,
of the Undertaker we had.
Right, and whether people like it or not, Hell in a Cell is the Undertaker's match.
Sure it is.
He's
Casket
been in more
match.
of them than anybody else has.
Mm-hmm.
The casket match, buried alive match, the Inferno match.
I love the Inferno match.
Well-
that's something I wish they'd bring back.
I think the Inferno match was based more on Kane than it was the Undertaker.
But the first 3, who was in both of them? All 3 of them. Now, it was both guys.
It's so
But
we'll
here's
give
the
it
problem.
to them.
But here's the problem.
Right.
You take one of those 2 people out of that equation, that other character doesn't exist.
That's true.
So I can take Kane away, and the Undertaker's going to do just fine. If you take the Undertaker away, Kane never even shows up.
That's a good point.
So, again... when
He's still yanking teeth.
Well, right. When we've talked about like the Mount Rushmore of wrestling, I equate things like that to what is, if I take this person out of the industry changes. And there's only a handful of guys that you can say that about. So, anyways, speaking to touch on the rated R superstar, Edge, he was medically cleared for in-ring competition probably 6 to 9 months ago. Mm-hmm. Rumor has it that he has signed to return to the ring for WWE for a match.
Ooh, Cena.
One.
I'll go Cena Edge.
Nope.
One more time.
The expectation as of right now, as of today, is he will be a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble.
No,
That's the expectation.
he can do that and do the least amount of work and still get the same pop.
Exactly.
Right. I'm
So,
good with that.
and he doesn't have to take a ton of bumps. He can go in there, do his thing, hang out for a little while, and then leave.
Yep.
Spare a few people.
Does that mean that he gets the itch? Kind of like what we saw with Goldberg?
It's possible.
And he hangs around and comes back as a special attraction again? Because Goldberg even says he's not done yet. We all know what Paul Heyman thinks of Goldberg. That's his Bruno Sammartino, so he will pull the big guy out of the mothballs when he needs to. And from what I saw of him sitting on the Broken Skull sessions, he's still just as jacked as he always has been.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a lot of promise there. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Edge. Nobody truly knows until he shows up. But I think we're going to find out.
Rumble makes most sense.
It does. at the same time, I think the Rumble this year is gonna look, look and feel different because there's a conversation now of do we get 3 brands worth of superstars in the Rumble?
I'm good with that, and I can see Keith Lee winning.
And so the conversation there is 10, 10, and 10.
Keith Lee, woo woo.
Makes sense.
So you get 10 Raw, 10 SmackDown.
I'm
10
good with
NXT.
it. And Keith Lee wins.
And you still get your
Yep.
surprise.
So speaking of the Royal Rumble, there's also the Vince's wish, which we know what happens to Vince's wishes. But
You
his
can wish in one hand and
no.
in the other.
Vince's mentality is right now is that there is a former women's champion that he believes is the future of the women's division on either Raw or SmackDown. SmackDown, I think, was the show that was mentioned specifically.
Former women's champion.
And
Give us an era.
yeah, I'm trying to figure that one out.
Give us an
current.
era. Oh, current former women's
Yeah.
champion.
So, did you guys watch NXT this past Wednesday?
I did.
And who is no longer a champion?
Shayna Baszler.
Shayna Baszler. So the
Are we
conversation.
talking Ronda?
So the conversation right now
There we go,
is
yep.
that Shayna Baszler will make her main roster debut at the Royal Rumble,
Fair.
with the expectation that she will go to SmackDown. And there are currently plans for a Mania match down the road of Baszler versus Rousey.
I feel like we've been on that collision course now for years at this point.
Well, but they're best buds.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I feel like
So it's a match that nobody has seen.
yeah.
But I got to tell you, if you were to put those two ladies in a main event level match at a WrestleMania, I think that every female in the locker room would have to sit back and start taking notes, because I think that's liable to be the greatest women's match of all time. Because I think those two women, because of their pride,
Yep. They will go.
they will go and they will put everything on the line, and they will be out there to make a statement that, yeah, we didn't grow up in this industry, but we can still go out there and do it. Because Shayna Baszler, you know why she's been the NXT champion? She's the best female performer they've had. Think back to Survivor Series. Who did we talk about was the best performer
It was
in the women's match?
It was Shayna Baszler.
It was Shayna Baszler. So that she's just got, now she's older, so there's not a whole lot of time. I mean, she's in her 40s, I believe.
Who, Shayna?
Yeah.
She's in her late 30s.
I don't think she's in her 40s.
Nico,
Nico,
can you fact check that for us?
wake up over
I'd say
there.
she's like maybe 36, 37.
What am I checking?
Shayna Baszler's age.
Like 38.
All right, so while he's doing that, I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. On
Okay.
our tag team draft
Yeah.
thing we're talking about, I can't do 4 teams.
That's not 4.
How many?
39.
39, so she's almost 40.
How many teams have we picked?
Just, well, each of us gets to pick 3.
Oh, damn, I just wrote down 13 tag teams for my fantasy team.
So, speaking of which, that's going to kind of wrap up our conversation that we were going to work on for wrestling news. That's going to be it. We are going to move on to our fantasy draft segment, where each of us, and I'm even going to let Nico participate in this.
All right.
Nico's asleep.
Nico's
Oh, okay.
sleeping.
Well, Nico wants to sleep through it.
I can't pick 3.
You got to pick 3.
I'm on. You guys announce your
So,
first. Actually, I can.
doing one,
as we- as we do
we'll
one,
do
one.
one and one like rounds.
Okay. God dang it.
So, and Nico, I'm going to let you pick who goes first.
Ashley's not here. Let's let Zach go first.
All right, Zach, you're going to be the first one on the board. Who is your first pick? Now, this is greatest tag teams of all time. Does not matter whether or not it's WWE.
Dudleys.
The Dudleys is your number 1 pick. All right, I got to make sure I write this down because we are going to post this on our site and give folks an opportunity to vote as to which.
All right, let's pick 4 each.
That's fine. We can do that.
Because we were going to pick 12 people anyway. A-Man's just not here to pick 3.
Zach, this is round 1.
All right,
Zach
let Tommy go
chooses
next.
The Dudleys. Nico, who's going next?
Thomas.
Okay. In my first round pick, I'm going to take Harlem Heat.
Sucker. All right, so wait a minute. Hold on. You got good picks. There are a lot of tag teams that are listed as tag teams throughout history that are more than 2 people.
I would say this is reserved for 2-man tag teams.
Okay. That helps me tremendously.
Okay.
Hold, please.
Anything outside of that, I would say, is not a tag team. It's a stable.
That's fair. Let me knock those guys off.
Okay.
Okay. All right. My go?
Yep. Your go.
All right. Demolition.
Oh, okay. All right.
One of my personal favorites of all time.
All right, Zach, we are back to you for round 2.
DX.
That's a stable.
That's a stable.
Triple H. and Shawn
Technically, when they
Michaels.
came back, they were not a stable.
Triple
Okay.
H and Shawn Michaels.
Okay.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Okay.
And even when they first started, it was just the 2 of them.
That's right. And an Amazonian.
Stables that actually won the tag titles.
They did win them.
No, I'm just saying, do you want to?
No.
No, I don't. That's irrelevant. It's greatest tag teams.
Because chances are we're only going to pick people that have had them anyway.
No, I'm just saying, you said you don't want to count stables, but what if that stable won the tag titles? Would they
Man, that's fair. I don't know.
Mm,
You're screwing me up because that
no.
puts back-
I would say no.
that
does
puts
not
back
count.
2 that I had just crossed off.
All right, for round 2, I'm going to choose the Steiner brothers.
Ooh, there you go. That's a good one. All right, so it goes to me.
Yep.
Well, if you're going Steiners, sir, I will see your Steiners, and I will raise you the Road Warriors.
Ooh. Okay. All right.
Almost
LOD.
picked them for my second pick.
LOD. All right, Smokey, it's back to you. Round 3.
Fight.
The Hardys.
The Hardys.
They were on my list. They were down at the bottom. They were on it.
In the 3rd round, I am going to take the Rock and Roll Express.
Still going, and just won the NWA tag.
Yes, they did. Okay. I shall see your Rock and Roll Express, sir. And I shall raise you the Outsiders, Hall and Nash. Oh, I came to play tonight, boys. I've been sitting over this entire show writing this list.
All right, 4th and final round for tonight's picks.
You know what? I'm going to... Ooh. Can we do 5?
No, because this is going to keep going, and we're going to keep drafting, so no.
I mean, I've got a lot of stuff written down. Boy. It's like a lot of stuff.
These are this is the
Last
last round.
honorable mention.
Final round.
Who's up?
It's Smokey's turn. Your 4th and final pick for the greatest tag teams of all time fantasy draft.
Beer Money.
Beer Money.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, they were a great tag.
Just get a little Robert Roode.
What is she talking about?
Ask her. We're live across the world right now.
Hey, Sarah, I need you to explain to me what your text message was for.
I don't know. Oh,
So-
my goodness. All right, so who's up? You pick Beer Money.
I'm going to take, for my 4th and final pick of the greatest tag team of all time. And,
So your last pick is the hard one.
yeah, well, because I've got like 3 different teams on my mind. To hell with it.
Oh, you're good.
I can't even pick it up. Let's see.
He's distraught now.
No, I'm just trying to figure out.
I'm distraught because I need more.
Well, Sarah, I was adjusting.
No, I wasn't talking about that.
I know that.
Shit, man. That's what I was talking about.
Let's see. 4th and final.
God, man.
That's tough.
I'm torn. I'm let's do 5 because I am.
Nope. 4.
I'm so torn between these two. Old school WCW tag teams, man. I'm torn between 2 of them.
Oh yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna have a 4A and a 4B.
I'm gonna go with the Nasty Boys.
Okay.
I tagged with Jerry Sex.
You did. You did.
I forgot about that.
Remember we were texting? I was like, "That is so cool."
Really nice guy too.
All right, Double K.
God dang, man. Glad we could make you laugh, Ben. Oh, man. All right. I'm sitting here justifying this in my head. I'm picking this based off their long-standing feud back in the day against the Road Warriors. I'm going Midnight Express.
You know, I thought about that.
I'm going Midnight Express.
I thought about that.
The team that I was torn with was Doom.
I thought about them too earlier.
Ron Simmons and Butch Reed.
Yep.
I just went back though, and I just sit here and when I was justifying, I just remembered the scaffold matches between the Midnight Express and the Road Warriors and Jim Cornette up on top.
Yeah.
You remember all those?
I do.
God dang, man.
So,
dude,
folks,
I had the Freebirds on there. I had the Horsemen up there.
There is your greatest tag teams of all
I didn't even have them on
time
here. Had Edge and Christian.
fantasy
I
draft.
thought about them.
Had the Hart Foundation, the Bulldogs.
In round 1, Smokey took. Well, we'll go through each of our picks individually. Smokey's picks for the evening. He took the Dudleys in round 1, DX in round 2, the Hardys in round 3, and Beer Money in round 4. I would not have put them anywhere on that list, but
They were a good tag team.
They were good, but greatest of all time. I mean, hey, it's your pick.
I took.
I
I took
couldn't figure out which one.
Harlem
to go
Heat,
with.
the Steiner Brothers, the Rock and Roll Express, and the Nasty Boys. And Double K took Demolition, LOD, the Outsiders, and the Midnight Express. So, folks, there is your fantasy draft for this week. These will all be posted. Each of our draft picks will be posted on the Wrestle Rewind Facebook page for you guys to be able to go on and vote for whoever you think has the best fantasy draft out of the 3 of us.
I should have gone with the APA as my 4th round.
I am
I would
happy.
have gone with that over Beer Money.
I didn't think about him until
damn sure.
I didn't think about him until
I would have gone with
after
like
you
Midian and Gangrel or somebody for.
I have
just kidding.
the excitement to announce that our next fantasy draft, which will be next week's episode, so we'll tape that on Monday. So make note of this so you don't forget about it this time.
we went.
I know, almost a month before.
I think I did fine right there.
You did.
Off the top of my head. It's all locked
Next week's fantasy draft will be a fantasy draft for the only greatest WWE Hall of Famers
Oh, what?
of all time. And let me frame this for you.
You could pick that out of just one Hall of Fame. Give a 10-year.
Nope, I'm gonna
decade.
classify. Hold on, I'm gonna classify it for you. You ready?
Okay.
The parameters for that particular fantasy draft is we'll pick 3 each because we'll have a man here, so a total of 12. And if whatever 3 you draft, everybody else gets eliminated.
Say that one more time.
So think of these 3 draft picks as the 12 people that we're going to draft. Everybody else gets kicked out.
I'm not following. What?
I'm still confused too.
I'm like, what?
You said that you could pick all of those from one.
Right.
The mentality you have to have is that we're going to take the WWE Hall of Fame as it stands.
So
and pick
if all the 12 people that the 4
That's
of us
it.
will pick.
That's all.
That's
I'm
the
saying.
only people that are there.
Is who we all picked?
Yes.
Okay. You were confusing me there for a second.
I got.
So
what
the
you meant.
12 people we will pick are going to be the only 12 in our Hall of Fame.
Now I'm with you. I mean, but lately on social media, isn't Dana Brooke the real Hall of Famer here?
That's the most interesting story.
Are you with me on this? Yeah, it is.
So, the New
Like
Year's
when the button goes off.
edition, our first draft for Fantasy Draft for 2020,
I dig it.
our first Fantasy Draft for 2020 is going to be draft the 3 greatest matches of all time.
And that's going to be the first show in January?
First show in January,
Oh, my
the
goodness.
3 greatest matches of all time.
I'm going to have to go back. Oh, God almighty, man.
So that's going to be our 2020 draft to kick off the year. We're going to try to do some sort of fantasy draft at least once a month. Yes, sir.
Does Damian Wayne Sledge Gibson count?
No.
I mean, you didn't specify.
You didn't specify.
If you want to draft that, you can.
I thought it was pretty good.
I mean, it was a good match. Yeah. Sledge Gibson's finest work is against Timmy Danger. So.
Did you catch it?
No, it just went by my head. All right, so that's going to take us to our final segment of tonight's show. And that's going to be, as always, what we end our show with, and that is our Wrestle Rewind trivia. 2 competitors tonight. Nico, unless you want to come over and join as part of this.
Stop including me. I'm tired.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
You're on record as saying that
Yep,
for everybody that is listening.
it's not a hate crime.
No more including Nico.
So,
Should go full ACH.
I'm not saying a word.
So,
I'm done right now.
we're going to go ahead and kick this off. Guys, you know the deal. It is 15 questions. Whoever gets the most points out of the 15 questions wins. I'm going to give you, I'll let you know whether or not they are multiple choice. The first question is multiple choice. Double K, our longest reigning Wrestle Rewind trivia champion, defending his title tonight against Smokey Z, who has only won the belt once in the 30 episodes that we've been doing this.
Hey,
So,
that's still one time, though.
It is.
question number 1 is multiple choice. Who was the first WWF superstar to be eliminated from the 1991 Royal Rumble? Was it Dino Bravo, Haku, or Bushwhacker Luke? Nico's got the timer running.
I forgot how it worked for a second.
Let me take a look. It's been a month.
Like, I think I know this.
I'll go ahead and give you your first hint. This superstar's career did not last more than 2 years after that Royal Rumble. Double K.
Dino Bravo.
That is correct. It was Dino Bravo.
That's who I was thinking the entire time. But I was going to actually ask a hint. Was he whacked by the mob? As Dino Bravo was.
Yes.
What?
Somebody get that?
What?
That question.
Yeah, I guess.
Yes.
Come on, man.
I'm
I'll try to end this quick, okay?
Question number 2, also multiple choice. Who inducted Jimmy Snuka into the not Murder Hall, the WWF Hall of Fame in 1996? Was it Gorilla Monsoon, Don Morocco, or Rowdy Roddy Piper? Double K.
Can't remember, but I'm going. Gorilla Monsoon.
That is incorrect.
Don
Smokey Z.
Morocco.
It
I don't
was
know.
Don Morocco.
I don't know why. I'm used to hey man being here. Hit the button.
Question number 3 is not multiple choice. Who defeated The Undertaker at King of the Ring 1995? Who defeated The Undertaker at King of the Ring in 1995? This individual's name has 2 parts to it. The first name is, even without winning the competition, he was still referred to as King. Double K.
Harley Race.
That is incorrect.
Wait.
Going to go ahead and give a second hint. This rendition of this particular wrestler would go on to later be a part of the Ministry of Darkness under a different name.
As soon as I said the race, I knew the answer. It's like,
Well, there was only so many kings right there.
I couldn't pull it back.
Jerry Lawler?
That is also incorrect. The correct answer was Mabel.
Yeah. Later to become Viscera.
Question number 4. Who was Bam Bam Bigelow's tag team partner at King of the Ring 1995?
Damn. You know, the other one could have been King Haku because he went on to become Ming.
That's true, yeah. Well, and they didn't even have... They had Mabel...
Well, but he went on to become Ming in WCW, though.
They had Mabel listed as Mabel. I remember him as King Mabel.
Well, right, and then Viscera, obviously.
I'm going to go ahead and give you your first hint. His tag team partner wrestled for both WWF and WCW. However, it was under 2 different names.
That could be every single performer in the 90s.
He was also part of a tag team. When he left WWE for WCW, he went with a partner.
What year?
1995. 10 seconds left. This tag team was drafted in our draft. Double K.
Scott Hall.
The other half of it, Diesel.
Wait, Diesel doesn't make sense. Scott Hall made sense to me.
Why would Scott Hall make sense and Diesel not?
And I just, for the record, they didn't go together. They went at separate times. I'm nitpicking right now. I am. I'm nitpicking.
When they wrestled their first match in WCW, what were their names?
They were the Outsiders.
Thank you. Were they a tag team?
I'm just saying.
That went to
You said they
WCW.
went with a partner. He didn't go with a partner. Scott Hall showed up by himself at first.
Right, but then he brought... Never mind.
I mean, this could go on
Question
forever.
number 5. In what month was the first In Your House held?
What was the question?
I could be such an ass for a hint for this one.
Why change now?
What was the question again?
In what month was the first In Your House held?
Oh my
Well, the
God.
purpose of a hint's not just to give you the answer.
Well, I didn't say it was. You said you could be such an ass. I was like, why change now?
Wow.
We get a hint?
Sure, your first hint is this month is usually associated in a old-fashioned saying that ends with viewing its flowers.
May.
The month of May is correct. Thank you, Smokey Z.
I was like, wait, what?
April showers
Yeah,
bring May flowers.
Yep.
Must be a cultural thing.
That's
I didn't get it, so what's that say?
Question number 6. Which superstar was pinned by Owen Hart at King of the Ring 1997? Was it, this is multiple choice, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Psycho Sid, or Big Van Vader?
Psycho Sid.
That is correct. It was Psycho Sid.
Nice guess. Or did you actually know that one?
It was somewhat of a guess, and I somewhat kind of knew just
guessed.
from. This is like a mixture of both because I
That's
remember,
fair.
like, at some point seeing a video.
Question number 7. Also multiple choice. Shawn Michaels' opponent.
Shawn Michaels.
That was when his eyes looked
Hey, didn't Shawn Michaels have a ladder match with Rosa Romaine once?
It was officiated by Ted DiBiase.
Yeah. Shawn Michaels and
Rosa
Rosa Romaine. I can't even say it wrong. I'm trying.
Shawn Michaels' opponent at King of the Ring 1997 was Stone Cold Steve Austin, Owen Hart, or Mankind? Smokey Z.
Mankind.
That is incorrect.
Just going to wait out a quick hint here. It's called game management now. I'm behind, too. I can't afford to F one up.
This WWE superstar would go on the next year to become WWE champion.
Who'd you guess?
Mankind.
And the other one was Austin and who?
Austin and Owen Hart.
Moguls.
Double K.
Austin.
That is correct. It was Steve
I
Austin.
knew as soon as I said Mankind, I was like, nope, that's wrong.
Question number 8. Not multiple
guess,
choice.
Oh, Lord. Mokles.
What position did Ted DiBiase...
Mokles and his bodyguard D-Cell. Funded by DiBiase.
What position did Ted DiBiase enter into the 1990 Royal Rumble?
I feel like we had this question.
30.
Okay. That is incorrect.
Really?
We've had other questions about what position someone entered. Stop. Just stop. Stop. Stop.
Just not on the air.
Your first hint.
Smokey, rear entry is not the answer.
Smokey, your first hint is there have only been 2 superstars to enter at this number and go on to win the Rumble.
Ooh, that's a good hint.
Number 1.
That is correct. It was number 1.
That's a good hint.
Question number 9. How long did Ted DiBiase survive in the 1990 Royal Rumble?
I'm going to need you to pronounce it correctly.
I did pronounce it correctly.
How
Guys, there's
long?
not a whole lot of hints I can give you for this because it's an actual time.
Don't say 1362.
No, that's your family. Not even your family, your son in particular.
Oh, he's in my family. I mean,
Well, it's not the whole family. It's just him.
right. Okay, fair.
It's just him.
Like,
Poor guy.
No, don't, it's not poor guy. Baseball better work.
His GPA would make an impressive batting average. Like .500.
He's got a 3.0.
Does he?
Yeah.
Look at him.
Those who I left behind hitting strong. And
All right, so I got one
They
hint
just
I
hadn't
can
hit the
give
chapter
you.
on time yet.
Only hint I can give you without spoiling the whole thing. If you think of an hour split into 15-minute segments, it was a 15-minute marker at which he lasted to.
30 minutes.
That is incorrect.
I mean, one hour.
That is also incorrect. You guys got the right. The hint gave you enough though. 45
Yeah,
minutes.
that was
the
good. It
actual
was a good
time.
hint.
Question number 10. According to the $1 Million Man, what does every man have? Double K.
Price.
That is correct. A price. Double K trying.
I almost yelled it, but I was like,
Double K trying to make a comeback here. He's still 1 point behind
I do
Smokey.
own the largest comeback in Wrestle Rewind
you
history.
do.
Just want to
still
put that
one-
out
How
there.
that happened.
Still 1 point behind Smokey Z with 5 questions
Well,
left.
it's easy. I got the answers right.
Question number 11. Steve Austin's match at King of the Ring in 1997 ended in A, KO, DQ, or no contest.
97?
In 1997.
KO, DQ, or no contest?
So this would have been his match against Shawn Michaels at the King of the Ring 1997.
No contest.
That is correct. It was no contest. 5 points. 4 questions remaining.
Oh, 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 oh. I'm just kidding.
Question,
I got to run the table pretty much.
he needs 2 more right to eliminate you.
Yeah.
Question number 12. Who was the Federation champion at King of the Ring 1997? Was it Psycho Sid, Bret the Hitman Hart, or The Undertaker? Smokey Z.
Bret Hart.
That is incorrect.
Might as well give me the hint because that's what I'm waiting on.
This superstar would go on to lose his title at the following month's pay-per-view.
Awful. God. If I wasn't too behind, I'd throw it out there. Trying to make the most of what I got.
I got you.
And it's either Taker or Sid that's left, right?
That's it. Those are the only two left.
All right. Hit me.
This superstar's character would go on to be the greatest legacy for any performer of all time.
Why don't you just tell me it was Taker?
I mean, I didn't have another hint I could give.
I was like, that one was pretty obvious.
You could have said something about like Texas Red, or I mean, I would have
okay,
got,
yeah.
I would have gotten that.
Yeah.
I would have gotten that. Too.
Time.
Question number 13. He already answered the question.
Vegan, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nico, get it together,
He's
man.
like the drunk sober guy in the corner who has no idea what's going on.
Question number 13. What denomination of currency did the $1 Million Man delight in stuffing down the throats of his opponents?
Oh, okay, never mind.
$100 bills.
It was a $100 bill.
Right about the time you hit the button, I was like $100 bill. I had a
All right.
Nico moment right there.
This is question number 14. Smokey, with a correct answer here, the game will end.
Multiple choice or no?
It is not multiple choice. Prior to WrestleMania 11, Lawrence Taylor attended a World Wrestling Federation public workout in what U.S. city?
It's not where I thought this question was headed.
Houston.
That is incorrect.
I
This
think
city-
I've got it.
This city has played host to several WrestleManias.
I still think I've got it, but I'm weighing it out because of one little slip, I can ruin it all.
Well, because you're still two behind.
I know. That's why I'm waiting on hint number 2.
This city, in the past, has been referred to as the home of WWE.
Oh, hell. That didn't help at all.
I think I know what the answer is.
New York City?
That is correct. It is New York City.
That's what I was thinking the whole time. But where I was getting thrown was like New York, New Jersey. I was like, if I say New York and it's just across the damn river, I'm gonna be pissed off.
It was no. So you think about Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, and that's
they refer to as their home.
Well, and they used to have WWE New York
Yep,
and all this.
yep.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 15. Double K, you need a correct answer here.
I thought this was 14.
Nope, that was question number
Okay.
14. This is 15. Smokey has a 1-point lead.
It's a good game either
So
way.
even 2 incorrect answers will result in a Smokey win. Question number 15. What was Ted DiBiase's team named at the 1989 Survivor Series?
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh. I don't know what's going on tonight, but I'm like,
Are you in a fog?
I'm not in a fog, I'm just slow tonight. So maybe I'm in a fog. Maybe I calm myself.
You said 1989?
1989. I'm going to go ahead and give you your
You were
first...
still clinging to the inside at that point.
The first hint that I'm going to give you is this was the only team that Ted DiBiase either managed or was a part of that operated under this name.
Oh, my God! This would be the question that I need to tie the freaking down. You might as well give us another hint because neither one of us have a clue.
No.
All right, your final hint. The name of the team coincides with the theme of the man.
The $1 Million Team.
It was the $1 Million Team. With a tie score, we move on to sudden death.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. It was like
I thought about that, but I was
it
like,
was too obvious, right? But I went ahead and did it because we only had like 5 seconds.
Question number 16. None of these will be multiple choice. Which superstar defeated Bret Hart at the first In Your House pay-per-view? Double K.
Shawn Michaels.
That is incorrect.
Hey, at some point you just got to go for it.
That's true. Gonna go ahead and give the first hint.
I should have waited, but anyway.
This WWE superstar is still an active wrestler. However, he has not wrestled in a WWE ring since being involved in an on-air medical emergency.
He talks about it all the time. Not he, I mean Tommy does.
I know.
I am working 5 hours, guys. Come on.
You're not waiting on me at this point. On this particular question, anyway. I shot my shot. It was the wrong one, but I shot it.
This superstar also shares a nickname with many other wrestlers, one of which we talked about earlier tonight.
Jerry Lawler.
Yep.
That is correct. It was Jerry Lawler.
I wanted to, but I
didn't
like,
want to say
because
when
when you said
known as the King, I was
Right.
like, I just wanted to leave it open.
You actually
when you
did
said
the title
on air,
this time.
when you said on air emergency, that was the first person that popped in my head.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, I don't want to say that and then be wrong.
Well, you were
So-
correct, sir.
At least
Hey,
I get it this time.
that's a good
That was a hell of a game.
That was.
Between the two of you, you fought it out to the end. Folks, that wraps up another episode of Wrestle Rewind tonight. Again, December 19th. Smokey, now a 2-time Wrestle Rewind trivia champion. A-Man was not here, so I'm sure she'll tell you the only reason why you won is because she wasn't here.
Probably.
Which is funny because she can't beat me either.
So, you know,
It's funny because both times I've won, she wasn't here.
so next, I'm going to go ahead and tell you what next week's trivia is going to be about, since it's going to be our Christmas edition. All of next week's questions will reference pay-per-views
On Christmas time?
or shows
In December?
in December. So we'll try to keep
Salute
it.
to the troops.
Yeah, we'll include Tribute to the Troops because if you
Tribute
guys
to the
remember,
Troops,
Tribute to the
okay.
Troops when it first came out, that's what it was designed for, was a Christmas show for the troops overseas. Well, folks, that wraps up another episode. Thanks for taking the time to either listen or watch. We do appreciate it. As always, it's great to be back after almost a month-long
Right.
absence. And we'll have another episode coming to you next week, December 26th, the day after Christmas. From all of us here at Wrestle Rewind, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Whatever holiday you celebrate, I hope it's a great one for you. And we will see you next week live at 8:30. Well, not live next week, but we'll see you
But we'll
next week.
see you. They'll see us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
They'll see us.
You'll see us next week at 8:30 p.m. on Wrestle Rewind on wherever you listen or watch your favorite podcast. Have a good night, folks, and we'll see you next week.